morning and welcome back to Honeybee Farmstead. We're not at the farmstead today. We are heading down to Midland to go to a grafting course, which is super exciting. I've learned a lot about it on YouTube and like read books and things, and I've tried it a few times, and I've got this special grafting tool which I'll show you. I'll actually add a picture of it in here, but it still hasn't managed to work. I don't know whether I'm being too impatient. Grafting tool, I've always been interested in it, and it's something that I've wanted to have as a skill because I would like to at one day graft a heap of different types of stone fruit onto one tree. Apparently there is a tree somewhere in the world that's got 40 different types of stone fruit all grafted onto one tree. That's pretty cool, huh? I don't know if it's possible or how hard it is and all that sort of stuff, but we're going down to one of my favourite ever nurseries, and it's called the Fruit Tree Man. He's brilliant, and I've bought from there before, but I've never had really anything to do with the Fruit Tree Man, so I'm really quite excited to do this. It's just me today. I don't have anyone with me. I'm just having a me day, and I might even, I've still got this loaner car because our car is apparently going to take another 6 weeks. It's quite a large issue, so I think that's why Alex, it was strategic. I think that's why Alex wanted to send me down in this car, knowing full well that I'm not going to be able to get the amount of plants that I would like to. So I've got to be quite choosy. Yesterday I went into Northam and did a heap of errands and got some chick starter and all the things I need to keep all the little animals going that I've got happening at the moment. I also grabbed some silver spangled Hamburg eggs off a good friend of mine at work. So I'm going to give those guys a try. Apparently they're quite pretty and they lay really good eggs. I also went and visited a local person that I've made friends with. I just know him as Riz, but he's a great young fella, and he's doing the permaculture thing beautifully. I finally got to see his place and was really quite inspired and impressed by him and his beautiful girlfriend. And he was generous and kind enough to give me 18 duck eggs from his duck area. They're a mixture of breeds, so I popped them in the incubator. We'll keep an eye on that as well, and watch the progress when it comes to that. That'll be exciting. And he gave me some garlic out of his garden, like true homestead style. We just trade things, and you know what, that's the biggest thing I love about this lifestyle and these beautiful people you get to meet, is just that community, that sense of knowing someone's around that thinks like you, that is working towards the same thing as you, that is, you know, understands how much joy you can get from digging your hands in the dirt and growing your own food, or from like repairing the soil on a property, because these guys have only been at their property for 2 years too, so they're all, you know, they're busy repairing soil and building soil and creating from scratch their little homestead, and it's so great to see. He does also do his own meat things like we're doing, but he does it a little bit differently. So he's done ducks in the past, so I can learn from him because he's actually physically done it. And when it comes to things like processing a goat or a sheep, we've said to him yesterday, you know, come along and we'll all do it together, and you can take some meat home. And building that community is like super important to me, but so fun to find friends that are in the same mindset as you and enjoy the same things as you, and understand the hard work and sometimes heartache. So off I head. I've got about 40 minutes before I get to Midland, and yeah, the company that, like, the nursery is called the Fruit Tree Man. So we've arrived at the Fruit Tree Man, and I'm about to go in and we'll have a look around before the course starts. That's cool. These are nice.
Yes, lovely.
I'm looking to get some inoculated ones soon as well. I've got 120 acres to play with now, so.
Now you go out over there, there's soap there, you go and wash your mouth out with soap when you swell up. Right, so there's your shatut. Which mango would you like? I'm still mango.
These are awesome. So good to know where you can source that. Ooh, I have a yuzu oil. doTERRA does a yuzu oil. It's beautiful. The plot thickens.
I was born in Namibia, which used to be Southwest Africa,
Yeah.
which used to be German Southwest Africa. So if you speak German to me, I will understand you and I will reply. And I can speak a couple other languages, but one of them is English. not Australian, but English. Right, so my name is Zechy. And if we just get your names around, we're going to do it in 3 sessions. First of all, I'm going to do a bit of talking. Just to tell you about grafting, a bit about grafting. Then I'm going to demonstrate a few different techniques.
Yep.
And then I'm going to allow you to do your own graft under my supervision.
Okay.
Yeah, so I will supervise you, make no mistakes. My wife micromanages me, so today I'm going to micromanage all of you. So the reason we graft, there are a couple of reasons for grafting. One of the reasons is if you have a very good plant, and you want to have a lot of that plant, you take a branch of that plant, you put it onto another plant. The other plant then becomes your rootstock, and the piece that you take off is called the scion, S-C-I-O.
Fruit, no good either.
After today, you'll sing a different song. One of the things that happens when you do what I've just told you is you will have the very same plant wherever you go.
Yeah.
So behind you is a Granny Smith apple. There's another Granny Smith apple here, somewhere here. This is Granny Smith. Now this Granny Smith apple, this here is the rootstock. There it's grafted on.
Yep.
Now this Granny Smith is a branch of the plant that is in New South Wales.
Oh.
And the one that my sister bought up in Namibia is a branch of the one in New South Wales. When you graft, it's always exactly that. So one of the reasons is if you have a tree that you really like, graft it on. The story about the Granny Smith apple, in New South Wales, a lady grew an apple tree. Maybe she planted the seed, maybe she threw it on the compost heap, nobody knows. But there was this apple tree, and it started producing apples, green apples. She started cooking with these apples and they didn't lose their shape. They kept their structure. So, as on the farm you give to everybody, and then her grandson got some of these. Took it to a friend of his and he said, "Wow, these are lovely apples, where do you get them?" "I got them from Granny Smith." Then the commercial people said, "Hey, this has got potential." So that is how Granny Smith started, and it's a true story. That one I didn't make up. The other reason is to determine the size. You will notice that on this label it says Boncretian, and on that label, that one, it says dwarf.
Yep.
The difference is that makes a dwarf, this does not make a dwarf. The rootstock determines the size. So in citrus, for instance, you have 3 different rootstocks in Perth. The one is called Flying Dragon. I like that because it's a horrible looking plant. Right. So the Flying Dragon is a dwarf. If you buy a citrus tree that's on Flying Dragon, it will be a dwarf tree. The fruit will be the same size as any other. Then you have the semi-dwarf, which is a slightly bigger tree. So the dwarf citrus is 2 meters, semi-dwarf 3 meters, and then the standard one, big.
Yeah.
You have the same with apples and a lot of other fruit trees. Daly's is working on a dwarf avocado rootstock. I want that.
Yeah. I thought they had some. I've seen little dwarf avocado like bush. They're little
Yes, it's
bushes.
a dwarf avocado, but it's not on dwarfing rootstock. There are different techniques of grafting. When you just graft a normal young plant, you take a small scion and you put it in. When you graft roses and citrus, you use only one bud, so you bud graft. One of the reasons for that is I cut this morning because I'm going to use this. Now when you want to do citrus commercially, you have to buy your scion from a certified grower, and they sold them. I don't know whether the price has increased, but 3 years ago they charged 50 cents per bud. So that's 50 cents, that's $1, that's $1.50. That piece is $1.50. So if you have a long one, and if you're going to put the whole one in, so if I take this one and put it in, it costs me $1.50 to put it in. If I put just one in, I can do 3 for the same price. Right, so citrus and roses are bud grafted. I'm going to do that as well.
Can I ask a question?
Of course, anytime.
Okay, so if you were to put the 3 on because you wanted it to happen quicker or whatever, is it less likely to take because it's got more energy it needs to put into it, or is that what I'm doing? Because sometimes I get quite a big bit.
Right. If you have a number of buds, you could get a number of branches.
Yeah.
If you have a very long one, the plant, the rootstock, has to supply the nutrients for this while it's starting to grow. Pardon me. The reason it grows is because the cambium layer, which I'll show you now, actually multiplies and forms callus. And as this one tries to heal its wound, that one tries to heal its wound, and the two wounds grow into each other. So if it's very long, this has to sustain itself for a period of time. If it's shorter, it doesn't need so much sustenance. You're exactly right.
Okay.
But you can use a couple of buds.
Okay.
Yep. Which we will do now.
Okay, cool. That's what I'm doing wrong. Figured it out. I want it to happen tomorrow. Yeah. not that big, but way too big by the sound of it.
Get it in and get it going.
I want fruit next week.
Yes.
When you graft, you use extremely sharp equipment. This is a grafting knife. Oh yeah.
You can have them this way. I love it.
Now the grafting knife is right-handed or left-handed. This is a right-handed one. It's sharpened on one side because I cut like this.
Yeah.
So the blade cuts, this part pushes it over, just like a chisel. The budding knife looks like this. That little bit there is to open up the bark, which I'll show you. This is a grafting knife. It's got that little piece there. So when you've got a big tree that you're redoing, you're top working, you cut it off, and you want to open it up, you use the stronger one, and you open the bark with that.
Is there a different metal?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Bronze.
yes, brass. Bronze, brass. I wouldn't know the difference. But anyway, yes, it is a different metal. Another thing is, if you're going to do fine little things, so you've got the normal one, and then you're going to do little things, then you can use a scalpel.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly, extremely. But little things like this, you're much better using a scalpel because you can cut finer. You can buy the scalpel blade, a couple of dollars. It's very expensive because it's laboratory grade. But this here is a non-sterile blade. You can buy non-sterile blades in a box, 100 in a box. So that's not bad. Whenever you work, you have to sterilize your equipment. If I have a virus on this piece that I've just cut off, and I use the same secateurs to work on the others, I'm transferring this all over. As you'll see, I've got cleaning alcohol on there, It's not drinking alcohol. But you can,
Bummer.
It's not the same as methylated spirits.
you can use you can use methylated spirits.
Yeah.
Right. Then you've got grafting tape, not the stuff that you buy at Bunnings. Bunnings tape is very hard. This here is grafting tape, and you feel that it stretches.
Is there a reason you wrap the entire...
Yes.
Okay.
The reason I wrap that
didn't do
is
that.
to get it not to transpire. You can also put a plastic bag over it.
Okay.
But the problem with the plastic bag is you've got moisture in it, and it can get onto where you worked.
And create
And
mold.
you can get mold and all sorts of stuff in there.
Okay.
Because when you prune back, it creates the hormones for it to branch. So, and a tree always grows, the middle one is the major one. That it's the apical dominance. So this one wants to grow up. So I'm going to graft onto this one because this is the one that wants to grow up. So I'm going to cut that off and I'll put that there so that I know those are grown. Now I'm going to do, if you have an established tree and you want to put a branch in, you can do a side veneer graft. So that's what I'm going to do now.
Strawberry flower for Joyce.
So is that there where someone's attempted it and it's not worked? Or?
No, that was a branch that's cut off.
Okay.
And if you have a look at that, you'll see that the cambium layer, that's a cambium layer
Yep.
that has started growing. So that is, it has calloused over
Yep.
and it is actually sealing the wound. So when you have arborists grafting, pruning, you'll find that they always cut just before that saddle there. You can see on there's a
Yes.
saddle there. If I cut the saddle away, it'll be very long before it heals. But
Right.
if I cut just in front of the saddle, just there, then all that the cambium
Heel over. Right, cool.
So I'm going to put this branch in here, there. So to put it in there, I'm going to do a cut into the wood, and then I'm going to open it up.
I mean, paying for the tree.
No, it's under anesthetics. It's anesthetized. So I make the long cut here.
And it will probably get a recovery feed of some sort, like...
Yes.
Yeah. Opiate equivalent, the plant opiate equivalent, whatever that is.
Yes.
Oh, I think I know what that is. Bunnings sell it's wicked stuff.
So
Make the tree happen.
on this side I've got a long cut and then I've got a short cut there. There's cambium layer there, cambium layer there. And I measure here and I see I've got to open it up a little bit more. A little bit more. If I now put it in, I can open it up a bit so that I can get the wood in.
Ah, okay, sliding.
So I'm sliding it in there. Right, cambium to cambium, and here, because it's fairly big, I can use the wider tape.
It's a good 3 centimetres sort of you've got in contact, isn't it really?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you need that much because it's a more substantial?
No, I'm doing that because of the way that it's got to fit in.
Okay.
Could you do this with like a really established tree?
I'll show you how to do that with a really established tree as well, yep. You can do this with a really established tree, or you can do a top working. If you do top work, you cut the tree off and you graft into, you can do that as well.
But here was a tiny bit of a gap between the two pieces. You know.
Where's the
No, it
gap?
was very, I don't know, it felt like it was
Down there.
between the two. Yeah, it was not
That's why.
perfectly in
That's why I pressed it
Okay.
and made sure that it is in contact. Now that there is a perfect breeding ground for all sorts of nasties.
Yeah.
Okay, the bit down the middle.
So then we use a little bit of our
Okay.
magic tape,
Okay.
close that up.
think about it like a wound. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep,
It is a wound.
it is a wound. So what have we got in here now? Concretion. I said when you grafting roses and citrus, you use the bud.
Yeah.
So we're going to do a bud graft on this one.
Oh, okay, okay.
So you can see there,
yeah.
that was a bud. You
Yeah.
see the bud graft?
Yep.
Right. First things first.
Oh,
First-
yes, you can
first
see
get rid
that's
of
the
that.
graft now. Yeah, yeah.
Right. So now,
This is the branch stick to it.
so now we've got a imperial mandarin there, and then we've got a clementine here. So we are now going to put a, yes, thank you. We're going to put a clementine on the other side. So we're going to put a clementine in here, in there. So what we do is, I think you'll have to have a close look because we're going to do a T bud now. So we do a T cut, we do a horizontal cut.
So that's into the rootstock. then?
This is rootstock,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
You can do that, pardon me, on any part as well.
Okay.
Then we do a vertical cut.
Yeah.
We get the bark to lift, and then we open it up.
This is the fiddly one.
This is, see then on that side, if we can just get it to lift.
But would only work on softwood, maybe?
No, this is on hardwood.
Okay.
You can see the wood is already hard, but the bark slits.
Yeah.
So when the bark slips like that, it means that the sap is flowing. Now we're going to harvest the bud. In citrus, you keep the petiole, that little piece there, you keep it on because citrus, as soon as the bud starts growing, it will form an abscission layer and throw that off. So as soon as that falls off, you know it's growing. If that dries up, you know you haven't had success. So what we do is we harvest the bud from the bottom and we go up. And we've got to be very careful with this one because it's small. The reason for that is I now have a little handle that I can touch. So I take the little handle and I'm pushing it into that gap there. So there it's sitting in there. Now I'm going to cut that little handle off. I'm going to cut it off at exactly where my horizontal cut is so that the
Slips inside there.
and also the cambium layer of the bud is now in touch with the cambium layer of the rootstock there.
It's such a tiny piece. I wouldn't have thought that would.
Yeah,
work.
that would work, but it's I think it's less risky, more
Yeah.
efficiency maybe. So it's kind of I'm gonna play with it today.
Right.
It's all
So
completely
Oh my God.
contained.
now
Yeah.
here, the important thing here is as soon as the bark starts, the cambium starts growing, it will form callus and it will start pushing out. If you don't tie it up tightly, it will just push it out and
yeah,
throw the bud
right.
off.
Yeah.
Right.
So what you can see, I'm doing it nice tightly over the top, but I'm keeping the bud, the eye itself, I'm keeping that open.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Then label. So that is
Yeah, label.
the super dwarf apples. The rootstock is not a dwarfing rootstock. This is a very strong rootstock that will grow in our area, but because we want to have a dwarf, we grafted, not me, but that's what is done, we graft an interstock.
Oh, wow.
So that is rootstock, this is interstock, and this is actually the gala. So on the gala, we've also added, on the 13th of this month, we added the golden delicious there. That was done on the 13th of this month. That one there was done on the 13th, and that one as well. What happened here is we had a number of these plants, galas and fuji, but one of them, the label flew off and disappeared. So I don't know whether this is a gala or a fuji, so I can't tell you this is gala or fuji. So what I decided is I'll put a Granny Smith on here, and then I'll add a Jonathan and a pink lady and a golden delicious, and whatever else was on there, it is still there. So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, a 5-way apple. with an interstock.
How many years do you think it would take before it starts fruiting?
Probably a year or two,
Only? Okay.
because it's because all of this is mature wood. When you graft mature wood onto the rootstock. So that's why while grafted plants fruit much sooner than seedling plants, because of the mature hormones that they get from the graft, from the scion.
When you call it a super dwarf, what do you mean by that?
They call it a super dwarf because it's on a strong rootstock, but it's still a dwarf tree.
Because they put the dwarf bit in the middle.
In the middle,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
that
that's
makes
it.
sense.
Yeah, this one will be a much better one because the two branches are of equal age. So this one will come out and that one will go out. When you do this with lemons and limes, be aware that a lemon grows much faster than a lime. So put your lemon at the bottom and your lime on top.
Oh, yeah,
So that you can cut the lemon back a lot. We have lemon and lime there, and that is a problem with them. Right. So,
Does the size of the plant, or like the rootstock,
yes.
determine how many things you can graft on?
Yes, because you've got the space to work.
Right.
So this one, I can put a lot on because I've got a lot of branch here that I can work with.
Yep.
I can put all over.
Yep.
Whereas with this one, I've got very limited space.
Right.
You can trick your trees in thinking they're mature. A tree grows up because of the apical dominance. It wants to go up. And as soon as the tree is big enough, it goes sideways. And once it goes sideways, it's mature, it'll flower. So if I tell this one like that, next year this will say, wow, I'm mature. Flowers all over.
way.
That's espalier.
No,
Is that why you do that?
It's one of the reasons for espalier, but you can do it with just your normal trees.
Yep.
You can do that. And as permies, we hang an empty cool drink bottle on there. And if you want, if it's a light branch, a little bit of water. If it's a very strong branch, you need more water. But do not pull it too hard.
Yeah.
Because I've got a piece of pear at home that I brought into my wife and I said, you did say not to pull it too hard. Here's the result. I did pull it too hard. So it can break off. The only thing is, you can only put stone fruit onto stone fruit. So, which means apricots, plumcots, pluots, apriums, plums, peaches, nectarines, nectar plums, all those together.
Yeah.
Yep.
Excepting a cherry. A cherry will not grow on anything but a cherry. So you can't put cherry onto peach, and you can't put peach onto cherry.
Give it up.
Apples, you can put all the apples together, and with a little bit of luck, you could actually do it on pear as well. But after a few years, it will probably abort it. So, any apples onto apples, any stone fruit onto stone fruit, any citrus onto citrus. With citrus, when you use citrus, you never use the angular. You can see that's still angular.
It's not round, it's flat. Yeah, yeah, okay.
That's too young. It hasn't got enough
Okay.
energy to sustain it.
Right.
So that's why I took it from there where it's round.
Right.
Glad you said that.
Yes, I need to. This one, if you retain this as apricot,
Yeah.
got a very strong apical growth there. So if you put peach on there, your chances are good.
Okay, let's do that.
Right.
I'll take it over.
I'll meet you there.
So I am going to graft a peach onto an apricot. Now to find the peach I want.
What about all the price on
It's the mid-season. I can't see it on there.
Maybe I just need to have a bit more faith in it.
Light gold.
Yeah.
It doesn't really say. But I'll take a stab at it.
Record. 41.
We'll just start with 3 for now. And this little guy's got to get nice and strong.
So what you're going to do is you want to put 2 on. So let's make space for you to put the 2 on. So we open up take the leaves off so we see what we've got.
flash boots with the zip at the front? I've not seen those before.
Now I have to fight the 28s to get the fruit.
Right. All of my trees are netted and I still don't know if it's going to work.
I've seen them chew holes in the nets at my other place and stuff. So I'm now going to trial a thing where you put wire up and you've got this like hanging bird thing that blows with the wind and stuff.
Okay.
There's a person in town who has put like a kite, like a bird kite, and when the wind blows it flies up and they get loads of fruit.
Okay.
So I'm trialing different things to stop birds.
Yeah.
hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. I got so much value out of it. It was lovely to connect with other people that are interested in things like that. I don't know whether you picked it up from the video, but the ladies around the table were very lovely and friendly, and we've been able to connect, and we will be able to now share our tree cuttings so that other people can graft the trees that we've already got. And I love that. As you guys know, I love community, I love connection. And how lovely was it to meet our presenter? He was such a sweet gentleman, wasn't he? I love it. And the nursery itself, for like, you rock up and it's just like someone's house, but out the back is just more fruit trees than you can poke a stick at. It was so good. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up, and even better, share it with your friends. Hit the share button, share it on Facebook, tell people what you thought of the video, and hopefully some of your friends will get some enjoyment out of it and some value out of it as well. I was given, very kind man, and I was last at the workshop. I usually am. I love a good chat. I love to connect with people and, you know, grow my community. So the lovely gentleman who presented the workshop gave me 4 sticks of different things that I'm now going to go home and graft onto fruit trees I have at home. Wish me luck, and I will keep you updated on how I go and whether I was successful or not. But for now, I'm going to go home and eat my sushi hub, which is what I usually like to get when I come to Perth. It's my little cheat treat. And yeah, back to the farm, graft some things and practice my skills. Thank you so much for joining us, and until the next video, be kind to each other. Bye for now.